10 Fascinating Facts about the Victorians. The Victorian period was a time of discovery, rebellion and exploration for those who lived through it. 1. Read all about it. Health professionals in the Victorian era were constantly innovating and suggesting new and interesting ways to fight illnesses. In 1875, one recommendation was to cover oneself in sheets of newspaper, providing a warm and comfortable night's sleep while reducing the onset of pneumonia. 2. An everyday poison. Toxic arsenic was widely consumed by Victorians. Women believed it had qualities which made skin appear younger, and so it was a major ingredient in many cosmetics, whereas men would consume arsenic pills as a way of stimulating their libido. Unsurprisingly, these products caused extreme sickness and lead to many fatalities before people understood the true power of the substance. 3. Curious collections. Many Victorians would specialize in collecting objects, from zoological and botanical to geological and archaeological. People devoted cabinets and spaces for their prized collections, which would often take up entire rooms in their home. During the era, many towns and villages had a curiosity shop which sold an array of weird and wonderful objects to avid collectors. 4. Widow of Windsor. It's well documented that when Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert, died in 1861, she went into mourning and wore black until her death 40 years later. During this time she secluded herself from the rest of the world and was rarely seen in public, earning herself the name of the Widow of Windsor. But did you know, Victoria disliked black funerals and at her own funeral in 1901, ensured the streets of London were decorated in purple and white. 5. Walk like an Egyptian. In the Victorian era, people were fascinated by ancient Egypt. Many historians believe this was down to the parallels that could be drawn from their relationships with death. In fact, Egyptian influences can be found in women's mourning jewelry from the era. This obsession led to an unusual phenomenon whereby experts would unwrap mummies for an auditorium of curious men and women. 6. The penny black. The Victorian era has often been described by historians as the golden years, as it was a hugely important time for innovation. One of these innovations was the concept of the postage stamp, which first became available for purchase on May 1, 1840. The first stamps, the penny black and the 2 pence blue, included the image of a young Queen Victoria, and to this day, the UK is the only country which uses the reigning monarch's head for national identification rather than the country's name. 7. 50 Shades of Black. As well as mourning loved ones, there was another, more practical reason why so many Victorians wore a lot of black. It was all down to pollution. Industry was booming in the Victorian era, and as such pollution was rife, particularly in the cities, meaning that women who wore light colors would find their dresses turn shades of gray, and so opted for darker clothing. 8. Look into my eyes. Victorians were big advocates of spiritualism and believed in the afterlife. Public events involving hypnosis, seances and fortune-telling were popular occasions during the era, and it was big money for the people performing these acts. However, unsurprisingly, many of these professionals were simply good actors maximizing on people's gullibility. 9. Hostess with the Mostess. If a lady was at home in the day, she was expected to be properly dressed and prepared for visitors between the hours of 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. The time visitors could arrive was dependent on how familiar an acquaintance they were, with closer friends and family permitted to visit later in the day. It would have been seen as poor taste for anyone to arrive earlier than 3 p.m. 10. Say my name. Queen Victoria wasn't actually called Victoria, she was in fact named Alexandrina after her godfather, Tsar Alexander I of Russia. Victoria was a middle name which she shared with her mother. However, until her coronation in 1838 she was known as Dina, and many of the public at the time were never certain of her official name. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell to be notified of new videos.